In 1 Timothy chapter 5, the Apostle Paul is giving additional counsel and advice to Timothy as he goes on a missionary outreach to establish some churches, and they part ways. Um, it's so interesting because Paul takes some time on a couple particular issues and helps give some wisdom to Timothy that he may be able to effectively lead the Lord's church. And, right out of the gates, he starts with something that reiterates the law of Moses, which says, honor thy mother and father. And the heart and principle that we see in honoring your mother and father is similar to verse 1 when he says, never speak harshly to an older man, but appeal to him respectfully as you would to your own father. And then he gives the flip side of that too. He says, talk to younger men as you would to your own brothers. Treat women as you would your mother, and treat younger women with all purity as you would your own sisters. How important this is that many times in life, and especially in church circumstances, people see differently. People simply approach the world differently. They think differently. They grow up with a different set of life circumstances. But the heart posture that he's telling Timothy to walk into the church with is, even when you have different types of trials, or you have different types of disagreements, is to respect one another and to treat each other with honor. And I think this is a very universal principle. Paul goes on to describe in chapter 5 how Timothy should approach widows, and it gives him some unique particulars about how the church should interact with some ladies who are widows and simply need support from the church. And he goes on to give them some great advice. And then in kind of closing on this particular chapter is he talks about eldership. Now, out of the three subjects, honoring people, handling widows in the church, and handling elders, I want to kind of hone in on this elder concept, because elders, Paul specifically says, don't be quick to appoint leaders. An elder has to be a person whose heart is for the Lord first and foremost, and for the church secondly. An elder has to be somebody who has life experience that can help navigate the church. They exercise discernment. In fact, there are a few chapters in the Bible that talk about qualifications of an elder. And he goes on to talk about wise advice with the leadership of the church. And so I think one of the inevitable concepts that we should really just consider in 1 Timothy chapter 5 is the wisdom that should be placed upon selecting leaders. In various church experience, I would say this is such not only timely, but such an important concept, because the reality is that church leadership has to have their heart in the right place. Church leadership consists of men. They're not perfect, but they have to be men who are devoted to the living God. And I would say that a church that God will use in a mighty way has to have men whose hearts are truly in it for the Lord. And what a blessing it is to consider this very thing, that the leaders of a church are appointed for executing the work of God in a manner that is pleasing to God. May the Lord bless you and keep you.